Hey there, welcome to Find Your Sun. I'm Cass.
And I'm Mer.
Join us as we find our sun through movement, nourishment, and well-being.
Awakened through the power of play. Let's dive in.
Welcome back, Sun Seeker. I hope you're doing well. Today is going to look a little bit different because Mer and I are going to just have a casual conversation with each other like we normally do as friends. And this is how we're going to wrap up the gratitude series. And we're going to talk about a little bit about how we found gratitude this week and just have a conversation. And we hope that you would like to join us in this conversation and listen in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, gratitude, since we've been so focused on it, so focused on practicing it and understanding like how it impacts our life. I think that observing over the past couple of weeks how it's impacted our daily interactions might be an interesting thing for you to tune in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so let's dive in.
Yeah.
I mean, how have you found gratitude come up in your day-to-day, Meredith?
Yeah, so over the past, so Cassie and I are just sitting down. I think it's been 2 weeks since we sat down, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so we are, we just like had so much conversation this morning, just sharing so many stories because we've had a lot of life happening over the last 2 weeks. And I just got back from a really special trip with my husband. Every year we get to go to a board meeting with all of the people that he works with, and it was such a special trip because I felt like I was going into the trip with this knowing that I was going to have this quiet time, and this quiet time like allows you to just really feel like whatever it is that you've been going through in life. And so I feel like I'm just so observant of the world around me. Like I'm constantly taking in like beautiful design or the beautiful scenery around me, or challenging myself to do something crazy. So for example, I saw these bikes when we got to the resort, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to go for a bike ride. And so I finally found someone to like help me get a bike, and they were like, hey, just a heads up, like it's really hilly. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I work out pretty hard, so hopefully I can figure out a way to work these hills. Yeah, because it was, and I probably had a little bit of overconfidence in this because, like, oh, I woke up early at 5 a.m. and I got my workout in, and I think I could do this. So I got the bike, and they said, well, you'll know if you're going to make it after you go up the very first hill. And I was like, okay. So I was like,
does this bike have gears?
This bike has gears, and
Okay,
it's like a mountain bike, but we're in Georgia. So we're like, it is definitely hilly.
Yeah.
And but the trees were so beautiful, and I just really wanted to get out because I didn't know, I wanted to get lost. Like the whole goal whenever I go on vacation is to just go get lost, to see if like how you can find your way.
And how often do we get to be lost but as moms,
right?
Like we don't get to. So the fact that you did that, you got lost, you had that adventure.
Yeah, it's never quiet enough, right? To get lost and be in the unknown. Like I just wanted to go find a way. So I found this walking and biking path, and I had started on my journey, and I just felt so much gratitude during my time on the bike, and realizing like, oh my God, I'm like, it's like actually really hard. That first hill was a really big challenge.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you just push through, you're able to take in the world around you and just really appreciate it on a much deeper level. And especially for the body that we've been given, like, I think it's great to challenge yourself. And I got back, and I was talking to the man that told me that it was going to be very challenging. And I told him it definitely wasn't for the faint of heart, and I had to be a little bit rebel. And we laughed about that so hard.
Well, because you have to have a certain kind of resilience.
Yes.
In that. And when you feel like that hard work and you don't let the resistance get to you,
Yeah.
then it's like this power that you have.
Yeah, you get to harness that power.
You get to harness the power,
Yeah.
and then you get to say, no, I did that.
And you feel like a true badass.
Yeah.
Like I felt like just really proud of myself because I kept telling my husband, I don't think anyone will really understand it unless you actually go do it.
Yeah.
And that's what's so funny about this because I kept telling him like how hard it was, but he doesn't get
he wasn't
it.
buying it.
No. He didn't even get to see the pathway. So,
Well, to give you guys context, Meredith's husband does sprints with his 13-year-old and is still beating his 13-year-old. So that gives you a little bit of context.
Yeah, he's like super fit. Yeah. He sets the bar really high. I mean, we wake up and like work out together. So I've also been focused on really honing in that discipline in every single day, like that intention. So the intention and the discipline. So I've been waking up every morning around 5:15 and I've been getting in my workout in the early morning, and David has been subscribing to this too. So we're both like into this, and we're actually 19 days in. So we talked about the 21-day, 90-day rule for creating a habit,
Or
and then
breaking
also
a habit. Yeah.
creating a new lifestyle.
Yeah.
So
Which is what? Just in case somebody is listening. Somebody missed the last episode.
And if you missed the last episode, I discussed the 2190 rule, and it's 21 days to establish a new habit, but 90 days to change a lifestyle. So I'm 19 days in on
21 days to change a habit, 90 days to change a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right?
To change your lifestyle.
Okay. I need to remember this.
Yeah. Which is really powerful because that's not that much time. Like that's 3 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks to establish a new habit. And so I used my trusted friend Maya ChatGPT, right, to create a workout plan and help set intentions for my week, and it's been just really powerful.
Yeah,
so I found a lot of gratitude in that.
Yeah,
and he works out so hard. So
oh well, thank you for sharing that, Meredith. That's really inspiring. You know, I've actually started.
I hear,
she's setting up like Python right now to like integrate her calendar into Google Calendar, like her calendar and ChatGPT into Google Calendar. So if we figure this out, hopefully we can share it with you eventually. But because if we can do this, we want to show you because it's going to make your life like a million times easier.
It's really powerful. I'm going to say it again because what you can do is essentially integrate the ability to create your schedule and then automate it into Google Calendar so that it will automatically tell you, oh, this is what you have planned for this little block of time.
Yeah.
So make sure to do it. And then I just have like this little checklist, and I've been checking off my list for each of the activities, and it's just been it makes me feel so good. So
okay, so I'll shift gears a little bit. Okay, so for me, I just actually moved into a new house. It's in a very busy neighborhood, lots of kids. My 2 kids have the park right across the street, which is great because they can go play with their friends, and they spent like 2 hours there yesterday because yesterday was Veterans Day, so they had off. So grateful for you veterans out there. Thank you so much for your service. I was really thinking about you yesterday, and I explained it. So moved into a new house. So I'm getting rid of a lot of things and that don't spark joy for me anymore. And so that actually got me to go back to Marie. I think I watched the movie.
Oh, the Netflix series.
The Netflix,
it was a Netflix series.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I think I
really
watched
big.
a little bit of it. Yeah, it was really big at one point. But then I was like, no, like I want to like really dive into it. So I got the book, and because I wanted to nail down this method, and I really want my house to feel clean and neat, and I don't want extra up in my brain because I'm like at a limit right now. So I want to be able to think clearly when I'm in my house, and I want it to feel nice. So because I'm like creating this new space for myself, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So when I'm reading this book, Marie Kondo brings up gratitude a lot in her book. And for example, one of the things that she taught me was that like when you're folding your clothes, like you press the clothes, and like that like it brings a sense of gratitude to that piece of clothing, and it like almost puts like this positive energy into your clothing.
I think there's nothing more important than taking good care of your clothing.
Dude, I don't know why we always talk about laundry, and I'm sorry, but this example was the one that popped up in my head.
Well, I think so much of us, we often just rush through this act.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that it's something to rush through. And it reminds me of my grandmother, because my grandmother would even iron the white tees that go under like a button-up shirt.
Yeah.
So everything just has this careful, detailed attention.
Yeah, you are
care.
putting energy into it, and then when you're putting that kind of energy into that,
You love it.
then it's going to be alive.
Yeah.
It's not like sitting in a corner collecting dust, because then it's like going to the corner to die.
Yeah. No, you don't want that. And
Yeah.
and when you press the clothing, like if it's a t-shirt, then it helps to remove the wrinkles so that when you put it on, it's ready to wear. And I think I love a steamer. So I actually got rid of my iron, and we've been using a steamer more. And that just, a lot of the times, like, we spend money on our clothing and it comes out wrinkled, or it comes out in the...
Or we wash it too many times and then it just gets degraded,
Yeah. But if you just show it that care, all of a sudden it comes alive again. And you're going to want to take it off the hanger.
Yeah. Yeah. And I found like,
Cool.
so what I did
Her method.
too is, about Marie Kondo's method, I took all of my clothes, like all of the clothes that were in my closet, all of the clothes that were in my dresser, put them all onto my bed. Oh my God. I did not realize how many clothes that I had. And after seeing
You
it
accumulate
all,
so much over the years, though, right?
right. And after seeing it all, I was like, this doesn't, like, thank you for the purpose that you served, but you no longer serve me. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something else that
cleansing.
she said, like, even when you're like tossing things or like giving them away, to still have that gratitude for the purpose that they served,
And to
So-
to thank it and then
and then release it.
release it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like, that's through donation, or because then someone else can love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've
Give it
made
new
a couple,
life.
couple trips to
Yeah.
the donation center. So
Yeah.
that's
great.
which feels good, too.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone else can love it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're very fortunate to have a cleaner every other week, and something that she said that keeps her, because she's amazing, and something that keeps her so sharp and like good at what she does is her gratitude.
Really?
She says that's what drives her, is her gratitude.
Really? Wow. Huh.
Like you can tell
wonder
too,
how
like
she- I wonder how
she's,
she
like,
applies.
She's singing.
Is she
and-
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
she's
She
so
loves
fun.
what she does.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
another thing that came up for me, and just so in loving what I have too, So I've found different purposes for things that maybe like got pushed away that came out again. Like for instance, I have this like really cute Himalayan salt rock that my grandma gave me. It was like sitting away, and I found it again. So I put it all together, put the light on, and it feels so good.
It really allows you, I think, when you're in that, if you're in that transition, it allows you to look at the things that you have and to bring new joy or new gratitude for those things. And it also might remind you of, I find that with my grandmother again, my Tootie mom, she passed away a couple of years ago, but I find that she lives so deeply in my heart. Like I see her in the things that I have around me. Like, this was a gift on my wedding, and it was really special. So one of my really good friends from my hometown, she gave me this Afghan that my Tootie mom, I call my grandmother my Tootie mom, and she gave me this Afghan that my Tootie mom had crocheted for her, little dog. but it's this beautiful pink little knit crocheted blanket. And I have it in my daughter's room, and she said, oh, I think that your daughter would really love to have this for her baby dolls. And now I pull it out and I'm just like, I see her in a new way. I see her love and appreciation and the time that she would spend dedicated to gifting these crocheted blankets.
The time that is put in. And I think that kind of circles back to something that we talked about in our previous episode, the interconnectedness that that we're surrounded by, and that we need to recognize. It's like, so she put time into this beautiful blanket that you now get to use and cherish, and that creates memory. It brings back memories of your Tootie Mom. Like, that's something that's really special.
It is. So, and I think a lot of us millennials, like, we've been through this era where we wanted to minimize everything and we want white walls everywhere. But I feel like we're kind of going back into this new, like, acceptance or we want to feel things a little bit more in the world around us, you know?
I definitely hear you. So I think what's happening, at least for me, is that I feel like I have less of a tendency to fall into consumerism more, because I think we're facing it right now. Like, we're looking it in the face. And I think that's why minimalism, like, totally, like, we were consumerism, then we went totally the other opposite direction to minimalism. But now we're like, okay, let's be minimalist, or like, we can let go of things, but also like cherish the things that mean more to us.
Right. Collection.
Yeah. So that's what I found, like, with my Himalayan rock, right? Because I'm not trying to, like, throw everything out, but the things that bring memories to me that are more meaningful, I'm going to keep those things and, like, actually bring them out into the light and set them on a table.
You're going to make space for them.
Make space for them.
Yeah, I think I love that. I love that.
So I get what you're saying when you say, like, we went a little too far down the other side of the spectrum.
I mean, I felt like my husband was going through the house all the time, just like clearing the space and like, which I think is really, really good because, and I think you should do it probably like every, I don't know, 3 months.
Yeah, I think Marie Kondo said if you tidy correctly, so like the way that and I haven't finished the book, so but from what I've read is that if you tidy correctly, you're like bringing all of your items in together at once, getting rid of everything that you no longer serves you, it doesn't spark joy for you, and then that's like a tidying session. And she said you only need to do that like every year, 6 months to a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I think like her philosophy is like when you use something, you just put it back in its home.
It's home. And if you haven't heard us talking about the home in another episode, it's just about, making sure that the things that you do have a place, a home. Yeah,
exactly.
And your children will really pick up on this very quickly. My daughter, oh my gosh, she's so much fun. But she was helping me organize after I was unpacking my bag, and she just loves this because she knows where everything has a home in my bathroom. It's yeah.
Hey, and I felt like, I think in the last episode I told you about how my morning was a little chaotic. This morning I'm grateful for how well my kids did today.
Yeah.
Like, I asked them to go upstairs. I said, can we be a team together this morning? I need you to help me with something. Can you?
Love that.
Can you go upstairs?
We are a team.
Yes, exactly.
The most important team you'll ever be on.
Oh,
right?
Yes. Say that again.
The most important team you will ever be on is your family.
Is your family's team.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a really good one.
It is.
Yeah. So they got up, they went upstairs, got their clothes on all by themselves, brushed their teeth all by themselves. I was like, who are these children?
They took so much ownership, and they recognized that you were in a moment where you needed their help, and they were enabled to become independent in that process. Oh, have I don't think I've shared about, well, this is more laundry stuff.
It's okay. We'll always just maybe we should call this podcast the Laundry
Show. You're not gonna believe this, or you maybe will believe this because some of you moms may have figured it out there. But I guess it was a couple weeks ago when I finally had my breaking point with our laundry, remember? And I was like, I hate laundry, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I interrupted Cassie at the end of a podcast a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I actually hate this. Well, we came up with a solution, and guess who's doing their laundry now?
The kids? The kids are doing their laundry?
Doing their laundry, and they do their laundry on Friday evening. So it's before the weekend so that David can do his laundry, and then I can do my laundry. Mm-hmm. And it's been so easy. Mm-hmm. It's been so easy. So one day.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's already happening, right? If you're getting your clothes on, that's like a step in the right direction to independence.
Yeah.
So empower your kids if you want. We're not trying to tell you how to parent.
No.
But
you're going to find your own way.
Yeah.
If you know your kids better than we do.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so my mom watched my children over the weekend while we were traveling, and we came home and she was like, oh my gosh, like I felt like I had nothing to do in the morning because your kids were so independent.
Oh,
I know.
That's a good feeling.
That was a good feeling.
Back to. Oh.
Yeah. I was like, oh man,
that's good. Right? You're winning.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. But that's a good feeling to have. You know, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, but when you get those moments, you better cherish that win.
Have some gratitude.
Have some gratitude for that win. Have some gratitude for yourself because you're doing amazing. And then Meredith, you were telling me a little bit about this book that you're reading. Can you dive into that a little bit?
Oh, I just started a really fascinating book. It's called Your Brain on Art, and it's by Dr. Susan Magsamen, and she is the she is the neuroscientist, or she's studying neuroaesthetics, and it's all about how the brain perceives and creates art and the impact that it has on our lives. And she has the claim that, or studies have shown that if we were to dedicate 45 minutes to creativity, it can elongate our life by 10 years.
That is insane. So was
10 years.
Do you know if this was like a meta-analysis or if this was like, do you know what kind of stuff? I suppose.
Okay, so I'm 2 chapters in.
Okay.
2 chapters in, and the first chapter really breaks down the mind. And it breaks down the mind so much so that we look at both hemispheres. So we have 4 lobes in one hemisphere, and we have 4 lobes in the other hemisphere. And then they're connected by the intercranial. Yeah. See, I can't teach about this, but I'm learning.
That's okay.
I'm learning, and I read through it very, very slow.
But I thought that.
I wanted to talk.
Sorry, go ahead.
So what it does is like when your brain is, I guess I could share, when your brain is in that creative process or taking in the beauty of the world around us, we're obviously connecting on a much deeper level to who we are and where we live. Like we're processing all of this information that makes us feel this sense of gratitude for the world and the beauty around us. And it is really found in nature. Like going outside is so important.
Yes, and we've talked about this multiple times, but it really is, and it's a huge foundation to Meredith's and I lives, and we hope that you are able to incorporate that too, because it's so important. Like if you're having a bad day and you need some air, go outside and go into nature, because studies have shown, like I feel like we don't need studies to be able to show us this, again, because we know how it makes us feel typically, but there has been so many studies that have shown like your anxiety is decreased, your feelings of overall well-being are increased, and you have increased immunity. We've talked about this in a different episode, I believe.
The feel good all your feel good chemicals are being released in your brain.
But like
And
art helps you kind of like
oh yes, so it's called neuroaesthetics, and so one of the first studies that they did, they performed the study on rats, and I think it was in the 1960s. And I wish I could pull out the doctor's name in my brain right now, but I wasn't prepared with that for that. But they took these rats, and it's all about putting yourself in an enriching environment. So they placed the rats in two separate studies. So one cage had essentially nothing that was like aesthetically pleasing or intriguing, or there wasn't really anything that like helped develop their brain or creativity. And then they put the other set of rats in. I know it's such a weird thing to say the word rats, like it's just gross.
hold on, you have 13 hamsters, so
just a second, hold on. But and then they place the other one in like really enriching cage where they have like all of these like tunnels that they can crawl through, and like things that they can chew on and play with, and like just have a little bit more fun. And then unfortunately they dissected the rats, and they found that the brain, the millimeter from like the brain barrier had increased like 6 millimeters on the rat's brain that was in an enriching environment in such a short amount of time. Too. It was like within like 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was insane.
So now I need to find a creative outlet, I feel like.
And then I go back, well, it's not even just a creative outlet, but just in your space, like create a space that's going to inspire you. So when you walk out into your living room, like you should feel this sense of like inspiration and gratitude, because it should make you feel good, you know.
So,
and whatever it is that makes you feel good, it's unique to you. And whether it's the collection of things.
So like you do a good, okay, so in the book you said but 45 minutes of creativity, like so would you have to be doing something creative, like drawing or like writing or something like that, or are you just in a creative space?
I think it's a creative space, which could be either, right? You could be creating, or you could be consuming.
You could do both.
Yeah, with your I think it's both.
Okay.
But I do think that sense of expression is really important. So a lot of the times, like I will find a beautiful shell, or I will find a beautiful flower, and then I will go and I will express myself through art by redrawing it.
Almost like expressing your gratitude for that.
Yeah,
flower.
for sure. Yeah. And like I like to take a photo of the flower, and I like to make sure that it's in like a way that it would be expressed in like this nice, aesthetically pleasing way. And then I draw it, and I feel like I've been able to express it.
So, question for me and the other listeners that are not as in tune with our interior design mind, like we're just more not as like we need to try harder, I feel like a little bit.
You just need to practice.
Okay.
It's just practicing. So a lot of the times I think we're raised to think, I'm not an artist, or I'm not a creative, or I can't play music.
I think it's easier for some people.
Right. It's easier. Yeah, well, maybe. I think if you are actively practicing it, you're going to become great at it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's something that's came up, I feel like in the Flow book.
Yeah.
I think, did you read it too? I don't know if you read it.
I did. But it's one of the first conversations we had.
Okay.
Yeah. Say it again.
We both read about flow.
Yeah.
So, that's what I read about in the book Flow, is that you do have to practice things to be able to be good at them, and that's like a limiting belief.
Exactly. It's totally limiting. And think about this, like you creatively express yourself through working out.
Yeah. Because I create plans for other people.
So it's a sense of creativity.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Because your body is essentially like you're sculpting your body.
Not just like
you're like a master sculptor, because
okay.
No, I mean, really, like,
yeah.
it takes discipline and creativity and yeah, really those two things. What else does it take to be able to even just go and create a plan?
Yeah, and I think what you're saying too is like creativity is not just bound to art and to writing or whatever. We may have like this preconceived notion of what art is. Is that what you're saying?
But art is ballet. Art is weight training, strength training, bodybuilding. Like these guys are masters of their body, just like Tanya.
Yeah, right.
You know? So she, we haven't gotten to share this with you yet, but actually next week.
Yes.
Yeah, next week we're going to actually release. We had our very first interview. We had our very first guest, and she's a bodybuilder, and she won the FMG.
Yes, the FMG competition.
Can you tell us what FMG is? Fashion.
Yes, fashion. No, I can't. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because it was WBFF, so that's what I remember, and they changed the name.
Actually, you know, we should have a phone over here in case we needed to Google stuff, just like
shoot, yeah.
Fitness, muscle, glamour. That's it.
Yes. Okay. I was gonna say it's something like fancy.
Just a heads up, fitness, muscle, glamour. You should totally put what you are in the very first, like when I Google you. Like it should just be, it should just be there, so we know exactly what you are, because it's really well branded as FMG.
This
so that's
is
why
some free branding advice for FMG.
Because if not, we're not going to be able to recall who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Like we weren't able to do it because we've only studied FMG, but wow, like Tanya is a powerhouse in this industry, and she gave us some really great insight on how she uses this as her creative outlet, and
yeah, how she's used it to overcome some things, and what she does to stay young.
Yeah.
In a way, because you know, once you pass 30, your skin starts becoming less elastic, your muscles stop, unless you're training, they're going to decrease over time. And that's something like that I've really started to incorporate into my life. And so I think like this next episode will be really great if you're looking to find some tips on like how to stay young, how to build muscle, and just hear Tanya's story of how she became a bodybuilder and how that sparks joy for her.
Oh, did you know that I was actually watching Joe Rogan, and he, even like when he gets up and like goes and does something, like if he goes to the bathroom, he still is recording, and like it's just
what?
Yeah. Like it none of it is as if it's all real.
I like that.
It's kind of powerful.
It is powerful. That's the power of authenticity, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
But what was coming to my mind is that I another thing that I did while I was away and I had time to myself, I went and sat in their steam room and sauna, and I was looking at their gifts in the lobby, and a book that stood out to me, it was this book of intention. And when I opened up the book, I opened it up to one of the very first like 3 pages, and one of the first blurbs was about the power of gratitude. And I wanted to like share this like transformative message, because just to have this like here in this place where you go to think about wellness, and to have that as like one of the primary messages that needs to be sent to us when we're thinking about having that intention in our life. So it's talking about harnessing the power of affirmations first, and then why they're positive statements that can reinforce our beliefs and intentions. The next one that they dive into is the power of gratitude. And it immediately stood out to me because that's something that we've been so focused on. And it talks about how we can shift our focus from our lack, what we were talking about last week, from what we already have, by taking just a few moments each day or week to acknowledge the blessings that we have in our life. And, you know, we can foster that sense of contentment and joy. And one thing that this book actually does is for each week, you have this space that's dedicated to practicing gratitude. And I also saw this as in my husband's weekly planner too, is that they have this space every single week to take that moment to show or appreciate to show appreciation and gratitude.
They wouldn't have that in there if it wasn't important.
If it wasn't transformative.
Yes, exactly.
And we're talking about, our ancestors really didn't have this knowledge that they could show this appreciation every single week to them. Right?
Yeah. And I just thought of something too, something else that has come up for me this week. I actually got, sorry, did you have anything else to share? I picked up a book by Viktor Frankl called A Man Finds Meaning, or
Man Finds Meaning.
I think something like that, the title. Yeah, look it up for me.
Keep going though.
Okay. And so this is a story, and I've just started it. So, but it's a story of a man that ended up
search for meaning.
Man's search for meaning. And so this book ended up teaching, or started to get into the story of Viktor Frankl, who was sent to a concentration camp during the war in Germany, and how he was actually a psychologist, and how the people that were all doom and gloom and did not practice gratitude actually like passed away faster. And he was able to capture this kind of resilience. And I'm really excited to read the stories because I haven't gotten into it yet. But, and I'll share those with you. But how powerful, even in the midst of something that's so inhumane and destructive, to still have like a little, because like how you react to something is the only thing that you have at that point.
So, yeah, it's so true.
So
the only thing you have is your ability to process whatever it is that you're going through. And granted, like these emotions or whatever you're experiencing, you should definitely listen to them. Like there's power in that too, but it's meant to transform you. Like when we have these, I think there's 8 emotions that that have been determined that these are like the top of the iceberg, right? And then you just keep going down, and there's even deeper ones, like there's a ton then. Something like 8,000.
oh my god.
But because he was able to pinpoint that this is something that he could use as his like
armor in a
power.
way.
Yeah,
it's our power.
Power.
Yeah, power. And and I think about that and how we can use that in our own lives when we experience a failure, and we can just have to reframe that in a way and not let it consume us. Like reframe it as not a failure, but a lesson learned. And I think, but like how you get past that failure is something that I think we all kind of struggle with.
That's so interesting though, because, okay, so he was in this confined space where he was not in an enriching environment at all.
Yeah.
So his imagination probably had to be so intact. Because if he was able to use his imagination, then he could create this space in his mind that did not make him feel as...
Oh, I just thought of something too. And so I think from what I know about this book is that he was trying to keep him and his son alive. And so in his interconnectedness with his son and doing something almost beyond himself, because he's trying to create games for his son in this environment. So when you're using that creativity, like you were talking about, and creating a game, like a game of survival.
Yeah, because when you're in this, when you're connected to someone, so he was probably like really having his son focus on him.
Yeah.
So that he could help him see something that wasn't there, right? Like help him dream.
And this is a story that I got from a podcast that recommended the book. So hopefully this has merit, this story. If it doesn't, I'm so sorry. But I know that there's a story out there about this. So I was like, oh wow, that is not just thinking about yourself, but helping others in that. And that's what I've also learned about gratitude as we've been talking about it, is it's not just having gratitude so that you can feel better, but like receiving gratitude when somebody is thankful and selflessly giving it. And then it's reciprocated.
So tell me this, have you watched Cinderella from 2015?
No, but you've told me about this. Tell her.
So at the very beginning scene, it talks about how Ella is actually her name. Cinderella is not the given name from her mother. So her name is Ella. And that kind of blew my mind in the first place. But she saw the world around her, not for what it was, but what it could be. And she loses her mother at a very young age. She's probably like 9 or 10. And her mother tells her that she's going to be leaving soon. And that the thing that she wants her to carry with her throughout her life is to have courage and to be kind. And she, in all of this, she's just goes through some really challenging things in life where her stepmother is just extremely cruel. And you see it in a new way because Cate Blanchett she nails this role and she's just exquisite. She's exquisite in this role.
Yeah.
You'll have to watch it because this movie is magical. But at one point when Cinderella got her name because she was the one that tended to the fire to take care of her stepsisters and her mother-in-law, her stepmother. So she would tend to the fire and she had soot on her face. So her stepsisters called her Cinder, and they were laughing so hard about how they thought it was so funny that they could call her. And then they began calling her Cinderella. And to see her take such courage and bravery and kindness and just continue to give that to them over and over and over and over again, even when they didn't deserve it. Like she created this special environment where she loved the little mice in her room and she respected the lizards. And it was just this space where you could see how she came alive.
That takes a lot of resilience
and a lot of courage.
Courage.
So have courage and be kind. I feel like that's something I'm going to literally teach to my children from here on out. I think that would be a great message for them to receive and live by.
That's a beautiful story.
Right? So go watch the Cinderella from 2015 because it is a magical movie.
Especially if you have a little girl. Yeah, that would be fun. I need to do that.
Or even if you don't have a little girl, go watch it because I think having a little girl kind of ignites this the little girl inside of you. I think that the play and you get to see the world anew in their eyes. But if you don't have a little girl and you have little boys, go watch this movie. And I think it's just a gift.
You're right.
You know?
It's a gift
because
for everybody
we all need to be reminded of who we were as playing in our little rooms when we were younger and the magic and the wonder that we found. So now, when I'm cleaning Mari's room with her, we turn on the Golden Childhood. And hold on, I've got to share this song with you because it's so pretty. By Patrick Doyle. Patrick Doyle, he was in the composer. Listen. Right. Okay. There's a little insight into how beautiful that movie is. And I hope that it inspires you. I'm probably not allowed to do that because it's probably copyright. So, whoops.
No, it was less than 15 seconds.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
fine.
it was less than 15 seconds.
No, that I'm gonna be watching that, and I think something like you said, finding that magic in the little things, and that's what gratitude is all about. It's about finding magic within yourself, within the nature around you, within the people around you, within the things that you have, within the road that you're walking on, and really feeling that deeply.
It's not about what it is, it's what it can become. And having that resilience.
And I think like we can become so engrossed in consumerism and our busy lives that we become detached from gratitude. And so bringing that practice back by either what we've talked about journaling, maybe 10 minutes at night or in the morning, doing a gratitude countdown. So listing 10 things that you're grateful for that have brought you joy, recognizing and appreciating the gratitude that is given to you. And you can also listen to other stories that people have received gratitude, and that's supposed to actually enhance gratitude within your mind. Is there anything else, Meredith, that like a practical tool that you've used to enhance gratitude in your life?
I don't know. I'm trying to think about if there were any other things that we went over.
I think those are like the main things.
Those are the keys.
Those are the key things that you can take away and use.
And then read some of the books that we've been reading, if they spark your interest, because I feel like reading is really where we're able to practice in that receiving these ideas that might spark something anew in you. So, or through movies. I think that even just sharing like the books that we're reading or the movies that we're watching, the things that we're doing, maybe it'll spark something inside of you that takes you on a new journey.
It's about those, I think, even if we don't know how we're inspiring somebody, we just hope that we touch you in a way that's like, that brings you joy, or like maybe you'll come back and be like, oh, that's what they were talking about, you know?
Oh, I just remembered one, and my mom brought it up to me because is your feed practicing gratitude?
Yes.
That was another one that she brought up to me after she was visiting, and she said that she had already started like reporting some of the things that weren't aligning with her ethos. And I think that that's a really powerful one, because we spend a lot of time on our phones.
Yep.
And if we're spending a lot of time on our phones, then we should definitely be receiving those things that make us feel a deep sense of gratitude.
Yeah. And something that I do too is I have an affirmations like widget on my phone. So every time I unlock my phone, I can see an affirmation, and sometimes they just really hit home. And I have gratitude for that, for the messages that I'm receiving and that I'm constantly receiving on my phone. And that's something that you could do too.
And that affirmations was the very first part of the book, and then it went into gratitude, the power of gratitude. So really great things. I hope that you guys are really taking, or I'm excited just to get a little bit of feedback, even just from my mom, telling me like that this is something that she's been practicing now and working on. And we hope that you're getting these nuggets too. And more than anything, I just enjoy coming here and having a conversation with you, Cassie, because
me too. I'm really grateful that we get to do this.
It allows us to internalize and practice this on a much deeper level, which means that we integrate it into our lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And part of why we do this in the first place, and to hopefully help you too. So next week we're going to have Tanya on, our first guest, like we said earlier. So we're excited about that. So stay tuned if you want to hear about that. And we'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week.
Just before you go, if you want to sprinkle some love our way without spending a dime, why not hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel? It's like giving us a hug through the internet. So please give that button a little tap and join our Sun family.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you found the discussions enlightening and inspiring. Please note that the information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only. All opinions expressed here are solely our own and do not reflect the views of any sponsors or affiliate partners.
And before you apply any of the health strategies discussed on the podcast, we recommend consulting with a professional to ensure it is appropriate for your specific circumstances.
Remember, we're here to spark conversation and ideas, not substitute for any professional advice.